We're about to get into a story that, honestly, just defies all medical explanation. It's about a little 2-year-old boy named Oliver Staub, whose survival and recovery is something that has left doctors just shaking their heads, calling it a miracle.
Let's start right here. This was the first thing a top neurosurgeon, Dr. Mohammed Baidan, said when he saw the scans of Oliver's injury. Just pure disbelief. This kid is alive? Because what he was looking at, well, it just shouldn't have been possible. That one question tells you everything you need to know about how extraordinary this story really is.
So the story starts with an absolutely devastating accident and a diagnosis that offered zero hope. The official medical term for what happened to Oliver was an injury incompatible with life. Think about those words for a second.
Okay, so picture this. It's April 17th. The Staub family is on vacation in Mexico, visiting relatives, having a great time. Then, in an instant, their world just shatters. Their minivan gets hit by an armored truck. And in all that chaos, they find little 2-year-old Oliver slumped over in his car seat. He wasn't breathing. His own father was sure he was gone.
He was rushed to a hospital in Mexico City. And that's where his parents, Stefan and Laura, got the worst news any parent could ever hear. The doctors were brutally honest. Their son's injuries were fatal. He wasn't going to make it through the week.
I mean, their despair was so complete, they actually started planning his funeral. His mother, Laura's words here, they're just heartbreaking. They even agreed to donate his organs, thinking that the happy little boy they knew would want to help someone else live.
So what exactly was this incompatible with life injury? It's called internal decapitation. It's where the spine is totally, completely severed from the base of the skull. The skin is intact, but inside, everything is disconnected. It is almost always instantly fatal.
So get this, after 39 days, the hospital in Mexico basically gave up and discharged him. His parents had to drive him 6 hours over these bumpy roads, with his mom literally holding his head stable the entire time. They had no idea how fragile he was. Dr. Biden later told them that a single sneeze, just a sneeze, could have killed him.
But here's the thing. Against all odds, Oliver just kept fighting. And this is where the story pivots. It goes from total despair to this unbelievable battle for a child's life.
This really speaks to Oliver's own incredible spirit. You know, the doctors in Mexico had said he'd never talk again, never eat, never drink, but he was doing all of it. From the very beginning, he was already proving them wrong.
And when his parents saw that fight in him, they refused to give up. As his mom, Laura, said, this wasn't a life for him. They couldn't just accept him being paralyzed, on a ventilator forever. So they started searching for anyone, anything that could possibly help.
And that desperate search led them to make some huge, life-altering decisions. They sold their house back in Germany so they could stay in Mexico. They learned this meticulous, around-the-clock care for Oliver. And their nonstop searching eventually led them to Dr. Burden in Chicago. But the costs were astronomical, so they found help from an amazing foundation started by the soccer star Tony Cruz.
All of that relentless searching led them to one final, incredibly risky shot at a different future for Oliver, a groundbreaking $1 million surgery.
So on July 11th, Dr. Biden and his team went to work. It was this super complex, multi-stage surgery over 2 days. First, they went in through the back of his neck to reconnect and stabilize the skull to the spine. Then, they did it again from the front. And finally, they had to actually reconstruct the lining of his spinal cord. Just incredible.
And the risk was just immense. I mean, we're talking about a toddler. Even a tiny amount of blood loss can be fatal. The days after the surgery were described as harrowing, and at one point, Oliver's tiny heart actually stopped beating.
So what does a procedure like this cost? The transport, the surgeries, it all came out to over $1 million. And every single penny was covered by the Tony Cruz Foundation.
Oliver survived the surgery, but what happened next absolutely stunned everyone. He started a recovery that, really, you can only call unprecedented.
To really get how remarkable this is, you have to hear it from Dr. Biden. He said that the best-case scenario, what they were hoping for, was just to stabilize Oliver's neck. Maybe he could one day control a wheelchair with his hand. The idea of him moving his legs or breathing on his own, that was completely off the table.
But then, the impossible started happening. A few days after the surgery, he moved his right hand. At first, the doctors thought it was just a muscle spasm. But then, he started squeezing his parents' fingers on command. Then his toes started moving. Then his other fingers. He started taking breaths over the ventilator.
And then, and this is a huge one, he started to sense when he needed to go to the bathroom, a sign of spinal cord connection they never ever dreamed they'd see.
Dr. Biden himself says there's nothing like this anywhere in the medical books for this type of injury, especially not months after it happened. He called it so miraculous, beyond what we could have expected.
So where is Oliver now? Well, his story doesn't end in a hospital room. Today, he's home, and his future? It looks brighter than anyone ever dared to imagine.
He's back in Mexico with his family, just being a happy kid. He loves wearing his sunglasses, he sings his favorite songs, and he blows kisses to all the neighborhood dogs. And right now, a physical therapist is working with him to help him learn to stand.
I think his mom, Laura, just sums up his incredible spirit perfectly. She says, when you tell this kid he cannot do something, he goes ahead and does it. He wants to prove you wrong. It seems like from day one, he's been defined by this fierce desire to defy every single expectation.
You know, his parents, who had to say goodbye to him more than once, now dare to dream that he might actually walk again. And they believe if he wants to do it, he will. Which leaves all of us asking the same hopeful question.
And we'll end on this powerful thought from the surgeon who gave him that chance. The same man who started this whole journey by asking, "This kid is alive?" Now, after seeing the impossible happen right before his eyes, he agrees. He's proven us wrong at every stage. The sky's the limit for Oliver.